Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Love Church Talks with S, Sheena,
and H, Hepzibah.
Hepzibah, I like your outfit.
Girl, is you copying me? Like, what's going on?
It wasn't planned, guys. It actually wasn't planned. Like, honestly. I know you guys are going to think it was, but it wasn't.
It wasn't at all.
It really wasn't.
Either way, we look good.
Yeah.
We look good.
I'm loving the hair, the cardigan, the jeans.
Everything, head to toe. Yeah, so we're going to really be touching up on, shall I say, talents and gifts, that God has given us. And, to use in his house.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you, how were you able to transition into not using your gifts for God to then using your gifts, and what example do you have?
Do you know what it is? Yeah, I feel like for me it was a bit backwards. I always felt like, like when you're growing up and you're seeing people in departments and they're doing choir or they're in like the technical team. I never knew what it was that I wanted to do, and I always felt like, do you know what, choir isn't for me. I'm not really a technical person, so I never really knew what my talents were. And I was quite content not doing anything about it. But then when I started at Love Church, I was looking for a department to join. And I felt like the social media department was the easiest department. So I was like, okay, cool, let me join this. Like, it's what, posting pictures, making a TikTok here and there. So yeah, I joined. And then after a couple of weeks, I realized that I actually enjoyed what I was doing. I realized the true impact that we actually had, and the fact that we were actually reaching out to people. It wasn't just creating content and posting. It was actually creating content that's going to bring people closer to God, educate them. So yeah, I then really started getting into it, making the TikToks, picking out content that would actually engage with people and get them to just learn a little something just from that 1 minute snippet. And from there, I realized that not only do I enjoy everything that I'm doing in the social media department, but I actually want to do that as a career.
Wow.
So I feel like by finding those talents in church,
I know,
right? Yeah, so I feel like by finding those talents in church, it then made me realize what I actually want to do in terms of my career. Because I've also felt like in terms of my career, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was just doing what my degree was allowing me to do.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really happy. And it's like, when I was looking for jobs, it was always a thing where it's like, am I really going to enjoy this in the future? But then I was like, do you know what? The future's not my business. Let me focus on now and actually just securing that job. Yeah. But now that I've realized that I actually enjoy social media and like content creating and all of that stuff, I've started to look for jobs that entail that. And I feel like I'm actually excited to actually look for the jobs and actually get that job. And I just feel like it's all because of the fact that I joined the department and actually found my skills.
Wow.
And yeah, that's
That's so amazing. I love that. I would give you a hug. Air hug. That is actually beautiful. And mine's quite similar as well. In terms of like media and stuff. I, like you, really enjoy like content creating. Yeah. People will say like influencer or whatever. But when I was outside, like when I was in the world, I was just making any type of content because I could, right? I didn't have, I wasn't thinking, I can't do this or I can't do that. So I was kind of like getting into trends. I started my social media properly, I would say, during lockdown. I feel like that's when everyone really started.
Yeah, you had the time as well, to actually focus on that.
Yeah, and then TikTok came out around that time. I was like making TikToks, and I was consistent.
Everyone was trying to get TikTok famous during lockdown.
I was consistent, and I started to get views, and maybe I'd post a video and it would get more. The type of video it was would get more views, more interaction. So I started making more of those kind of, I would say, like lip syncing. Type of. Thinking back now is so cringe. But So I started that. And then when I came to Love Church, I still had all my content up. And then I started to realize like where I'm going in God's house, I have to be careful on what I post.
Yeah.
Because we represent God.
Definitely.
And people watch us, especially like us. We're kind of like at the forefront with the podcast, our media.
Yeah.
So people will see us. And you don't want them to now go onto our account, social media accounts, and be like, wait, like, how can you be
talking about this, but this is what your account looks like. Yeah.
And like in the previous episode when we said we don't really care what people say, to some extent you have to. So that's where I came to, and I stopped that. I was really sad because I was like, wow, like people were like noticing me and stuff like outside. They were like, oh wait, I've seen your TikTok. And I used to get like really excited, but deleted everything. I said I'm gonna start from the beginning.
Yeah.
So when I did, my followers started to. I think my first post after deleting everything was when we went on a retreat. This was, I think, 2 years ago. We went on a camp, church camp with Eden.
Yeah.
And I did a kind of like different clips of each session.
Oh, yeah.
Posted that and didn't really get any views, didn't really get any likes. There was not really much interaction. And then I started doing my makeup, but with, gospel in the back.
Yeah.
So I think my followers started to realize like, wait, like, what's this girl doing?
Yeah.
Hello, can you like do Rihanna? Like, what's going on? Yeah. So I started to see the deduction and I was losing followers.
Yeah.
And I was kind of getting annoyed, like, but then I said to myself, this is good actually.
Yeah.
I don't mind. I don't mind this because whoever is staying is, staying because they like my content. Exactly, and that's the whole point of content creating is, engaging the people that want to engage with you as well. So yeah, with media, I'm really enjoying it now. I'm still like, my engagement has gone up. So I just feel that the times where I was worrying about, God, I really want to kind of do this media stuff, do the social media stuff, but I don't know how. And I've always been in the choir.
Yeah.
So for me, I just knew when I came to Love Church, choir, that's it. But I was like, God, I love like recording. I love doing all these stuff.
Yeah.
And I think Brother Kuda came to me and was like, we have a TikTok account. Like, do you mind? We can see that you really like social media. You're into it and that. Can you start recording for us? And then that's how I started, recording the TikToks. And since then, we've had TikToks like going off the roof, almost 7K.
Definitely, yeah.
Instagram, we're on like 10.2K or something. I'm like, wow. And it's not about the numbers.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you can have numbers and then there's still no result.
Yeah.
And we can see it today in church, right? You can agree with me.
Definitely,
that the numbers are crazy.
Because the number of people that are coming to church and it's from social media, and that just lets you know that, you're posting the right thing and it's reaching people.
Yeah. So all in all, that's us using our gift and our desire. Because, when you have a desire for something, you do it better.
Yeah.
So it's not like anyone is forcing us to say, record. We love to do it.
Yeah.
God has given us that ability. So how much better does it feel to actually use it in his house?
I was actually going to ask, so how do you deal with moments where you're not feeling as motivated to continue doing that work?
Using your gift?
Yeah.
For me, because as you know, Love World Singers at Love Church, it can, like, we do a lot, right? in terms of rehearsals, in terms of unending praise, which I'm super grateful to be part of.
Yeah.
In terms of programs and how many songs, because in ministry, we do you know what I mean? Our songs come.
I was shocked to find out that there's always new songs coming out.
There's always new songs. So in terms of learning that, and then also having your personal life,
how do you balance that?
It's difficult at times, I won't lie. But I would say the thing that keeps me going is the fact that it's for God. If it was in the world, and let's say it was my job, and I was coming into work every day, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, and they're saying, I'd be like, all right, I'm out. And I don't owe them anything.
Exactly,
But when I think about the opportunity that I've been given to use my gift and to use the talents that I have in the house of God, I'm like, there's no excuse. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear that. I feel like for me sometimes, where I was actually talking to Brother Kuda about this earlier, I feel like there's a lot of times when not necessarily I'm feeling lazy, but it's like, oh, I've already made one TikTok. That's enough for the week. But then I feel like it's important to remember that at the end of the day, the more content we put out there, the more people that we're reaching, the more people that are going to hear the word of God. And I feel like it's also important to remember that at the end of the day, what we put out might be the only thing that that person sees that's to do with God. So it's like, I may as well do it, And it's not really going to take much from me, but it's more important that they, like whoever it reaches, like it touches their heart kind of thing.
Yeah. And it's like, when you do get discouraged like that, sometimes think about like Pastor Chris. Imagine if he woke up and said, "No, God, allow it, man. Like all this preaching is enough." Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then we wouldn't be here. There would be no Love Church. There would be no Christ Embassy. Like, so when we have leaders and people that we look up to that have done it, it means it is possible.
Yeah.
So God gives everyone different things, right? And it all, when it comes together, it becomes one. Like we're all one body, right?
Yeah, one body, so but we each have like different parts to play.
So without a certain part, the house is not really going to work as effective as it should.
Yeah.
So everyone needs to do their part.
Yeah, play that.
That's what I feel. And like the Bible says, if you don't use the one talent that you have, God will take it away.
Literally.
And he will raise rocks to do the work that he wants done.
Exactly.
So how much, like, we should be thankful.
100%.
That, wow, God, okay, you've given me a voice. I'm going to use it in your house. I know it's going to be tiring. I know it's going to be challenging, but I'm going to fight the good fight.
Exactly. Like, that's the task that he's given you. Definitely. So how would you advise somebody that's in your position that has talents, but they're using it for the world?
They're using it for the world?
Yeah. Let's say they're like, a Christian. They're trying to get closer to God. They might not necessarily be in a church, but they have talents and they want to use them for God.
Since you said they want to use it for God, it means that they have that desire, right?
Yeah.
So that's where they have to start off with. They have to find a church where they encourage people using their gifts, using their talents for God. That's what I would say.
Okay. I hear that. I feel like for me, if I was to advise anybody in my shoes that, isn't necessarily sure of their talents, I think firstly, they need to find a church.
Yeah.
Because I believe that without having found Love Church, I don't think I would have realized that I have a talent for what I'm doing, and that I actually enjoy it.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's definitely important to actually find the church. And then also just explore the departments. Like you never actually know what you're going to enjoy doing.
Yeah.
Whether it's, media or like the technical stuff or even singing, like joining a choir. So I feel like joining the church is very important and then just exploring and seeing what you enjoy. And you never know where it's actually going to take you because like what you briefly touched upon, when you actually use your talents, God will give you more. Like, he will add on to it.
Of course.
And he will take you places that you could have never imagined.
100%.
So, yeah.
Like that last bit that you just said, that God will take you to places that you never imagined. I feel like a lot of people, especially young people, who are talented, like rappers, singers, dancers, all that kind of stuff, they feel like their career will die if they just leave it out, if they don't do it in the world and just do it, focus in the house of God.
Yeah.
And like, I can say, because I've experienced it, that I received so much more doing it for God than trying to please people. Because when you do it in the world, what are they going to give you? They're going to give you a pat on the back and say, oh, well done. Like,
literally that.
They're not going to give you anything else.
Yeah.
And then a few months, couple years down the line, you're not relevant anymore.
Exactly that. Yeah.
Things, change. There's different trends. You could be popping this month. Next month, no one's really feeling your songs. No one's feeling your videos.
Yeah.
No one's feeling like your outfit check videos.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? But when it's with God, it's everlasting. You can be a media. You can be a photographer. You can be a videographer. You can be a singer. You can be everything that you want to be in Christ. And he will take you from one place to another and continue to grow you and bless you, like you said, more than you can even imagine.
Yeah, and I think it's also very important to remember, I think this is something that Brother Phil mentioned last year, but the gifts that you have, they're more so to benefit other people. And it's like, in the world, I feel like a lot of people think about how it's going to benefit them, how much money they're going to make. And then it's like, when the trend has passed or like the music is no longer relevant, it's like, what now?
Yeah.
I did all that for nothing.
Yeah.
But it's like, when you do it for God, not only is it fulfilling for yourself, but it's also fulfilling in the sense that you've helped so many other people from whatever it is that you're doing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Like you said,
that.
with how people will see you as like, you're not really trending. It's like artists that leave church to do their own career and pursue their own career, and it's like the world is not like they want to do it for the fame and people will notice me, I'm gonna get paid for it. But if you were to see what God has for you compared to what the world is giving you in terms of like attention you're going to get. Maybe you get some paparazzi outside your house and you feel, I don't know, what's the word? Validated.
Yeah.
And what God has for you. If that was in front of you, you would never even think twice on
it's definitely because whatever happens in the world, it's more of you see the results immediately. I think that's why they're more willing to go out there. Yeah. But it's like, when you're doing it for God, you just have to trust and believe that, the blessings are coming.
They're coming.
And even though you're not seeing how, like, people are receiving the work that you do, just know that it's working. Because I feel like we could think like that, like, we're just posting content, but how do I know that it's actually reaching? People are feeling it. They're hearing it. They're learning.
Yes. And us also using our talents in the house, and people are able to see that, it encourages people to even want to come to church, because it's like, motivate. Oh wow, I can sing like this in church, or wow, I can take pictures, make content. Wow,
exactly. It shows them that church is fun. Like, church isn't boring. There's so much you can do, and it literally nurtures your talents. And there's just literally a lot you can do. Like, it's not just go to church, sit down, listen, sing, go. Like, it's actually a fun place. And even when you are working in the house of the Lord, you can still have fun doing it.
Yeah.
So,
I love that.
Honestly.
But I just feel like, to anyone who is contemplating on whether they should come to church, based on the fact that maybe the career that you have outside of church, you feel you can't use in the house of God, trust me, you can. If you can dance, if you can sing, if even spoken word, if you're good with IT, good with cameras, everything, you can do it to the glory of God. And not only you will be blessed, but you'll be blessing others and you'll be encouraging others to come to Christ. Christ loves everyone, and he wouldn't give us talents for us not to use it, and for us not to use it for his glory. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just better to just utilize those talents. There's no point in having those talents and not using them.
Yeah.
So it's just beneficial for everybody, including yourself, legit, to just use them and utilize them. And just never forget that at the end of the day, God's only going to add to it if you use your talent.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love that so much. Honestly. And I'm so happy for you. I can't wait to, hear the testimony of your
on stage,
big career.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah. Thank you for listening. And honestly, we hope you guys enjoyed. And we hope that it's inspired you, whether it's to go to church or to utilize whatever talents that you had that you're sitting on, just use them. It's only for your own good. But yeah, that's another episode of Love Church Talks with me, Sheena.
And me, Hepzibah.
Thank you so much for watching. Bye.